chances are you just got yourself one of those new iPad minis. Of course, they're great for a lot of different things, entertainment, productivity, but they're awesome for gaming because you have such a powerful and capable chip in these devices. So I thought today, what better time than to show you 5 different controllers that I believe will give you a very good experience to use on your iPad mini and game to your heart's content. Hi, I'm Clef and you're watching Game Tech Talk. Thank you very much for clicking on the video. If it's your first time on the channel, this is what I do. I talk about tech that is related to gaming. Today we're gonna do things a little different. It's gonna be a top 5. There are a lot more options that I could have picked from. So these are 5 of the better options, but they'll be ranked from 5th to 1st. For you to know which one I will recommend the most, you'll have to stick around, or I guess you could accelerate, but that is kind of boring, right? You're gonna watch the whole video. Starting with the BSP D8 Pro. Now this one might go through a lot of different names on Amazon, so you want to be careful with that because it's definitely one of those drop shipped products. You have mechanical buttons, mechanical D-pad, shoulders that are tactile, analog triggers, so they'll give you that graduality for your racing games. You have 2 extra buttons that you can map to anything else. You have turbo, select, start, your home button. It follows the PlayStation style buttons. So you have X, square, circle, and triangle. This is Bluetooth, so it operates by battery, a USB-C charging port for your controller, and they give you that little backing to not scratch the back of your device. You can just go ahead and sit it in the controller like this, and it's gonna look like you had a handheld pretty much, and you can move it up and down. You can place it in a way that works best for the ergonomic and the balance that you're trying to achieve. And modes, you have plenty with this one. You can use that on your Nintendo Switch, you can use that on your PC, your Mac, your Android, and of course your iPad. It is extremely feature rich. You're not missing anything. You have Hall effect sticks, Hall effect triggers, you have gyro implemented, you have rumble. It's gonna work wherever, whenever. You may have to change modes from time to time. For example, right now I'm on the PlayStation mode. That's why you see the PlayStation buttons, but you also have an Xbox mode, a Switch mode like we talked about. Now, why is this one 5th? Because at this point it sounds pretty amazing, right? The one thing that keeps it 5th, in my opinion, is the quality of the sticks. It's not that they're bad or anything. They're just not really designed for aiming. So for example, if I just move it just a little bit, you'll notice that it ramps extremely quickly considering the distance at which I move the sticks. So when playing games like Call of Duty or Rainbow Six, these types of games where aiming is important, it's gonna make it very hard. Games like Minecraft, yes, aiming is a thing in Minecraft, but it's probably not as important. It's gonna give you an overall very rich experience. It's also very slim in the back, so if you like a device that doesn't cover the back of your device to prevent throttling or heat, that one might help a little bit, not to say that it will prevent it completely. Yeah, the D8 Pro is kind of a no-brainer. It's a very safe bet and one that will get you pretty much anywhere you want to go. Overall, I think it starts this list very strongly. It's a great offering, a lot of features, and it also gives you a lot of versatility. For example, if you want to play with your iPad being vertical like this, it's one of the few controllers on the list that will effectively allow you to do so. So that's a benefit for sure. In 4th position, Memo S3 tablet. You got to be careful because this one also is found under many different names. However, you have 2 different editions. You have the tablet edition is what you see here, and the phone edition is not going to work with your iPad mini, but the tablet one will. Now this is a USB-C controller. It does have Bluetooth mode. You're much better off using the wired method, and it has a USB-C charging pass-through, which means that when you are connected, if you plug your charger here, it will charge your iPad at the same time as powering everything that you're holding. You have mechanical face buttons, mechanical D-pad, tactile shoulders, analog triggers, and your back buttons are in the back rather than being on top like the previous one. I find they both have great ergonomics, but this one, you're much closer to that kind of feel and ergonomics. Another thing, much like the previous one, it also has rumble. I do find that the rumble is slightly better quality here. It also has different modes, so you can put the PlayStation mode, Xbox mode. Now, one of the big differences with this controller versus the previous one is the quality of your sticks. They are Hall effect, same for the triggers, just like the previous one, but the overall responsiveness, the quality, and just the smoothnesses at which you're able to move your sticks in a direction are considerably better. I prefer to have a product that gives me more versatility in terms of, you know, what I can use it with or where and how. So that's definitely one of the benefits that you have here versus the previous part. I would say that the other one overall gives you a few more features. For example, here you don't have gyro, but you do have an amazing app which works for iOS, by the way. It's called MUI Gaming, and I strongly recommend picking it up if you're going to buy this controller because the app is really, really good. You can address the curve of your sticks. So for example, if you want something more aggressive, maybe that is the case. Well, you can adjust all of this in the app of this game. Now, talking while gaming is tough, but I'm doing okay, right? Now, next in line is a controller that I just very recently reviewed. It is the Elo Vagabond. This is the closest that I've been to an actual console controller in terms of the fact that your buttons are not too vertically aligned, so it's easier on your thumbs. The ergonomics, it's long and elongated. The feel, it really feels premium. This one comes third, so you might think, oh, there's better. And yes, in terms of the overall average and total package, I do believe that this is not necessarily your top controller on the market. If the games that you play are mostly shooters, that one is second to none. It's extremely, extremely good. It has also a very nice app, which currently on iOS is available on test flight. And this controller is fully MFI supported. I talk about the previous two, and yes, they work on iOS, but the reality is there is a chance, it's unlikely, but there is a chance that from one day to the next new update, Apple blocks these devices because they're not really a PlayStation controller. They are pretending to be. This one is fully MFI certified, which means that Apple recognizes this product and accepts it as one that is part of the ecosystem of Apple devices. This is a pretty big deal for a controller. It is, I believe, the only one in the list that I have that is MFI certified. That's how rare that it is. It stretches without issue for tablets. It has a very tight grip, and the feel, the sticks, the buttons. I mean, you have mechanical button, you have a tactile D-pad, which is also very good for fighters. You have shoulder buttons, analog triggers. You have extra buttons as well, but you can log them. So if you don't like to use these and you don't like the fact that they feel like a button, you can push the switch and it's going to log them and you're no longer able to click them. This is a controller I did not expect to appreciate as much as I do because the quality is outstanding. I've been called a shill for talking positively about this controller, but the reality is it's that good. I mean, if it's good, what do you want me to say, right? That it's bad because I said previous controllers are good as well? That's just the way that it is. It is a good product. You have a USB-C to charge as you're gaming. You also have a 3.5mm jack. So if you're trying to have an audio solution that is not Bluetooth reliant, you can do that here. Now this one also has a pretty nice app, as you can see, and it lets you tweak a lot of different things on your controller. You can change the sticks, calibrate them, remove the RGB if you want. We talked about how the Memo S3 tablet edition has great sticks. These ones are considerably better. But the thing here is that you are sacrificing some of the things that you had on the other options. You don't have gyro, you don't have rumble. If you are familiar with Hall effect sticks, you'll know that they don't feel exactly like a console controller. Now, these are still Hall effect, but they're really tweaked to what I could call near perfection. They're really, really well designed, and it ramps up very realistically like you would expect a normal controller to do, but they do that on Hall effect. So you can tell that there is very impressive tweaking on those sticks, and this is what I really appreciate with this product, as well as having amazing ergonomics and just overall a very well balanced solution. However, it's not cheap. It usually retails at $150 right now. They're having great discounts, and if you don't mind affiliate links, I have one in the description where you can get a 25% discount, which is pretty substantial. Now, and with that, I think it brings it a lot more on par with the other options in that list in terms of value, right? The price is nearly double, if not 3 times the price of the previous two that I talked about, but you do get a massive jump in quality of your sticks and feel and ergonomics. The other thing I would want to emphasize with this one is if you're the kind of gamer to play for like 3 hours on end, because you really like dial in and you like to play long sessions, the ergonomics are beyond with this one. Yesterday I played 4 hours straight with this controller and I saw the difference. You know, it's not so much that I can't do it with the others. but this feels more comfortable. You know what? I think I know how I can describe this. One of the first times I remember ever feeling that was with the GameCube controller. I don't know if you've ever played a game and after a while you kind of realize that you don't feel the controller anymore. It's like you're not holding that, like you are, obviously you're playing a game, but you forget that you're even holding a controller. I don't know, maybe it's a me thing, but this controller gave me that impression. And I had not had that experience on a mobile controller so far. Something that can't be dismissed in my opinion. That controller is good enough that I literally forget I'm holding one after a while. Something I think Elo should be commended on because not a whole lot of controllers can do that for me. I'm hoping it's gonna do that for you, but if you wanna give it a try, definitely a great pick. The next and second one in the list is the Absolute S9. Now this is a prototype. They are in the process of shipping the retail units. But yes, this controller, you don't have to mod it. I say that because I talked about it on my channel and I modded it. It also has a very long protruding USB-C, so much like the other one in the list, if you use that with a case, it should work just fine. Now the thing with this controller is it just works. It just works and you're not sacrificing anything. For example, with this one, I don't know if you'll hear it, but you do have rumble. You also have Hall effect sticks, triggers. Your buttons are membrane. So if you like a feel that is more traditional in terms of face buttons, that's what you'll get here. Your D-pad is tactile. You do have two back buttons, which can be mappable. You have turbo. Think of it this way. And by the way, this one can be used Bluetooth. It doesn't have a battery, but it can be used Bluetooth. You do have a USB-C right here, and you have your 3.5mm jack here as well. So I'd say in terms of features for a wired controller, that is top of the line. There is no current controller on the market that will give you as much features and will be as feature rich as this one throughout the entire market of wired controllers. It has a software which right now they're tweaking because that product just released out of a crowdfunding campaign. They're pretty much shipping units to backers right now. I should have received mine any day. And they're working on a software which I had the pleasure to try and it's really, they're going places. It's really an extremely compelling product. While most products on this list are Chinese products with the exception of Hilo Vagabond. Not that it's a bad thing, but sometimes the quality may not seem to be as much the focus as some other brands. While this one, it's very much quality. The ergonomics is not like a console controllers like it is the case with the Hilo Vagabond, but I think that this one is equally as good because it has something that is extremely comfortable for long distance. And on top of doing everything wired, if you double tap here, you'll notice that this will turn blue. You can actually use this controller Bluetooth if you want. It's extremely, extremely feature rich. You're not missing out on anything with this product, anything at all. It's also not that much more expensive, which is $79 on sale on their website if I'm not mistaken. You're still getting a crazy deal for this product. Honestly, even if you were to pay 100 USD, it's so complete. Like this is the kind of controller that you buy to forget about the market entirely because you don't want to go back for at least a year or two to see what evolved in that space. That's the product that will get you there. That's the product that you're going to buy once. It's going to work for your phone. It's going to work for your iPad mini. By the way, this can work on Android as well. This can work on iPhones. This can work on pretty much anything that you can plug it in. It can even work on the Switch. To give you an idea. Now on the Switch, you're going to need a special cable, a USB-C female to USB male, but you could actually use that on the Switch. Sitting the Switch in it, they're actually working on an adapter to do that. For the time being, it's not as simple, but it's something that they're working to provide for buyers. And then also you have the ability to change the faceplates, and they're saying that they're going to be selling more options down the road. So if you want a different look, you're going to be able to swap those as well. That one is really hard to beat. And this is the one controller that I struggled extremely hard to determine, do I put it first or do I put it second? And ultimately I put it second, and let me show you the first one. Now, if you are at all looking at these products, you already know about the G8 Plus. And man, is that controller phenomenal. It is so good. So, you know, everything I just mentioned, everything I just talked about, rumble, gyro, app, does all the things, all the modes. It is just as complete. By the way, by default, it doesn't come with these PlayStation buttons. This is something that I received separately, which is sold by a website called RRtronics Creations. So because these buttons, by the way, they're magnetic, so you can remove them and you can swap them with options. And so these buttons, they're magnetic. So if you want to change them and put something different like I have right now, that's something that can be done. Now this controller it's so many things. It can work with the Switch, and okay, let's start with that. It's a Bluetooth controller, right? So you would have to keep that controller charged separately. You can also use it wired. So if you wanted to plug a wire at the bottom here and plug it to your iPad or whatever else device, your Mac, you can use that as well. But you can also use it Bluetooth, which is actually the way that it's supposed to be used. But in terms of the features, it has pretty much everything from the other previous controllers that we've talked about. It has a great app. It has amazing buttons. We're talking membrane for the face buttons. We are talking tactile for the D-pad. You have Hall effect sticks, which also are very good, although I would still give the advantage to the ELO Vagabond when it comes to that. You know, they're more than good enough to play your shooters. You have tactile buttons over the top. You have analog triggers that feel very, very good. And that one has also an extremely appealing ergonomic profile. I know some people cramp on this one. Personally, for me, it's been working absolutely great. And you can use it on your Switch. So if you wanted to remove the iPad and slap a Switch in between, you can do that as well. The battery will give you anywhere between 10 to 16 hours, depending on the features that you activate. It does have rumble, it does have gyro, so you're not losing anything in terms of immersiveness. And you do have the 2 extra buttons which can be mapped. This one has turbo. You can swap your layout. You also have different faceplates, for example, like this one. They're even selling some Marvel themed options. I want the Thanos one so bad. It's so good looking. Yeah, this controller is amazing. Now, another thing that this controller does, much like the first one that I showed you, which really are the only two, is it'll work extremely well when using this alignment. A lot of fun if you want to play something like the DS, which I'm doing right now. And the iPad mini feels amazing for that. Look how both screens are filled. It's just such a rich experience, and probably one of the better ways to play DS that I've experienced in recent years. It's really, really fun. And because you can change the layout of your buttons, if you want to have something that is more akin to what the original experience was like, you can do that as well. I'm telling you, this controller I constantly try to find something that beats it, and I always come back to it because it is so versatile, so good quality, so feature rich, and the price is also really good. If you get this version, you're paying 80 USD. It's often on sale, so you might see it for 65, 70 kind of thing. And then because it's such a popular accessory, you can also find other options on the market, like for example, these PlayStation buttons. Yeah, I always keep going back to it because it's just so good. And it's also that one controller that regardless of how I decide to game, be it on my phone, be it on a tablet, be it on my Switch, be it on my PC, be it using XR glasses, it doesn't matter how I decide to game, this will always work. There has never been a situation where I was not able to leverage the amount of option that this controller provides. And when, for example, if you want to use a dongle to have a more reliable connection, you can buy one separately because this controller also supports 2.4 gigahertz band with their proprietary dongle solution. So that'll let you leverage that type of connection as well if you want something that is more responsive, or if you just don't want to break your head thinking about it, right? You can have your mode for iOS and you can have your mode for your Mac or your PC by keeping a dongle connected there where it's always going to work. You have so much options. This controller effectively can eliminate so many other ones that you have in your life, and it does so while providing a lot of great features. That is why I always keep coming back to this one. It's not as if it's cheap. It's not as if it's bad quality. It's not as if it has bad software. It just does it all. It's not even as if it's that much more expensive than the other ones. It's so much of a bang for your buck. So when thinking bang for your buck, I think it's normal to think, okay, I'm getting a great deal, but I'm sacrificing some things to get that. That is not the case here. You're getting the best bang for your buck while still retaining an extremely high level of quality and reliability. That's why I keep coming back to that one. It'll just work everywhere. And so that is it, guys. This is the list. Let me know what you think. Do you have one that you feel should have made the list? And talking about that, there is one special mention, which is the Razer Kishi Ultra. So here's the thing. It's not a bad controller. It's decent. It's good, and Razer has made good software for it. The problem I have with the Razer Kishi Ultra is that it is pretty much for everything not as good as this. That's the problem that I have. It's not as good as this. It's twice the price. If I wanted to get something that feels premium in one direction, I would go with the ELO Vagabond before I go with this. And that is despite the fact that this one has Rumble, although it doesn't really work all that well on iOS, to not say that it doesn't work at all. With that in mind, I don't really recommend it, but I know that a lot of people swear by Razer because they're familiar with the brand, they know the name, and it is a good quality. I'm not trying to say that it's not, but it's just not worth the asking price compared to what the market has to offer. It's grossly overpriced. So because I have consumer in mind and consumer at heart, and I'm one as well, I could not in good conscience recommend this controller just because I know that you are literally throwing money out the window. Again, not because it's bad, but because there is better on every aspect for less. So why pay more for what? Brand loyalty? I mean, if Razer serves you right like that, okay, but I'm sorry, it sounds like a rant. I don't script these videos. I just let my heart speak. And I paid this out of pocket and I use it fairly regularly. And I keep coming back every 5 to 10 minutes to, yeah, no, it's just, let me go back to this. Let me go back to the Absolute S9. And right now, because I have the ELO Vagabond, I honestly don't even think I'm going to be using that one anymore. I feel like the ELO Vagabond is just that much better. And the one feature that it doesn't have, it more than makes up for it by being better with pretty much everything else. And so that is it, guys. For real this time, this is the list. Let me know what you think. Let me know what your opinions are. Is there a product that you feel I could have recommended that was not on there? Share, let the other viewers see your comment. And as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.